Hello everybody, this is the Wikstrand. So this was the year where the Academy thought that Moonlight should get the Academy Award for Best Picture. In the same year it also saw the release of Hell or High Water, Hacksaw Ridge and Arrival, so I don't know. When I saw this movie, I said to myself when I was finished with it, what was that? I didn't understand what I saw, and I didn't quite understand why this movie got this accolade. Now, time went on, and when it was decided that I was going to review Moonlight, I said to myself, I don't remember a single thing about that movie, so I had to re-watch it. And it was almost exactly the same thing as the last time I saw it. This is a very forgettable movie, in fact. Whenever I see a movie that garnered this much attention, this much praise, and the highest accolade that you can get as a movie, the Academy Award for the Best Picture of the Year. I feel that if I'm not going to give this a raving review, I feel the urge to defend myself. Now, if I would have reviewed, let's say, this movie or this movie or this movie, I don't think I would have to, defend myself. It is a decent action movie, an okay comedy and an okay western, but they all have the same rating as Moonlight. Spoiler alert, it's 51. But then, when I review a movie such as this, about such a sensitive subject matter as they do, and when I think that that movie is on the same level as those three movies, I feel that I have to explain myself a little bit. So let's find out why I didn't like this movie as much as most other people did. This is Moonlight. Moonlight is a movie that consists of three different segments. The first segment, Little. We see this small little kid being, chased by bullies and, hides himself in this, abandoned building in Miami. And he meets Xuan there, played by Mahershala Ali. I think his name is supposed to be pronunciated. This guy kind of takes, Chiron under his wings and teaches him how to swim and stuff like that. The relationship kind of actually reminds me a little bit about the thing with Hugh Grant and Nicholas Hoult in the movie About a Boy, especially when Chiron starts hanging around Xuan and stuff like that. And then I thought, this is kind of an interesting story because Xuan is also this kind of mid-level drug dealer of some description who is actually responsible for selling the smack that fucks up Chiron's mom, played by Naomi Harris in an absolutely spellbinding performance. By the way, Xuan is absolutely fantastic. Ali is so good in this movie, and I thought to myself, this is such a fantastic and interesting dynamic that is going on here. But then the segment ends and we move on to the other segment, which is called Chiron. There he's played by a different actor, and he's now in high school, and he's still being bullied, especially by this Tyrell motherfucker who, wants to make, his life a living hell because of his sexual orientation. One thing I couldn't quite understand is, why did these bullies think that he was, a homosexual and stuff like that, and, using these derogatory terms about him and things like that? Is it because of there's a rumor that, he is gay or anything like that? Because the thing is that Chiron is a very aloof character. He just, stares at the ground, never says that much, and seems to having trouble, trusting anybody, and doesn't really want to talk to anybody, especially, not about his junkie mom and stuff like that. And, Naomi Harris hasn't gotten any better in the second segment of this movie. But he meets Kevin, a guy he actually, trusts, and there is a blossoming romance here somewhere. But then, just when you think that, wow, this is going somewhere, the segment is over and we move on to the third segment, Black, which is kind of Chiron's nickname, which he's given in the second segment. Now he is a grown man looking real jacked, baby, and is also now some kind of a mid-level but kind of successful drug dealer in Atlanta. And he's contacted by Kevin who now works as a chef in Miami, and he goes there to meet him, and that's the entire movie. It's over. And when this movie was wrapping up, I thought to myself, especially when I saw it the second time, there has got to be something that, you know, this movie is leading to, that it alludes to. Something has got to happen. But the movie just said, nope. And the movie just ended. It kind of stopped. It just said that there is nothing more to see here, go home now. And then I said, is that it? Yes. So what is the good things about this movie? Well, let's go over what I think was really, really good about this movie. The performances are absolutely great. The three actors who plays Chiron in the three different eras of his life is absolutely fantastic. It kind of reminds me a little bit about Boyhood, who actually has a better concept of, you know, the coming of age story. Because, you know, Moonlight didn't spend 12 years of slowly seeing how this kid grows up to an awkward teenager. And like About a Boy, the relationship between a child and a grown man was better executed in that movie, in the same way as the, you know, coming of age story was better executed than in this movie. Moonlight is still a better movie because of the fucking awesome performances. That said, you cannot base an entire movie just on performances, because I have to ask the question, where is the story? Because any one of these three segments could have been a good movie, but they cannibalize on each other and take precious time from it, so we never really get attached to anything. We only have Chiron as the thing that, you know, glues this thing together. There are small things that, you know, is connected here and there, but Chiron is also a character that is very, very, you know, private. He's very aloof, as I said. He, you know, doesn't really speak, and all his action is basically what you think that he's doing, but he doesn't really do that much stuff. Naomi Harris and Ali are just so much more interesting characters, and they are just, you know, side characters. And in the end, I just didn't care that much what was going to happen to, you know, Chiron. And especially since, you know, this movie ended in, well, it just ended, it didn't make me more positive towards this movie. If you would compare this movie to, let's say, 12 Years a Slave, I was so into what's going to happen to Solomon the entire movie, and I was so attached to that movie. That is a movie that I wholeheartedly support as, you know, a movie that should win the Academy Award. For some reason, they both had too much time with too little plot, and too much plot in too little time at the same time. I didn't quite know how you could do that, but they found a way somehow. It probably has to do with the fact that there are three different segments in this movie, and none of them feels complete. Maybe that is done by design, I don't know. I probably upset some, you know, easily offended critic somewhere in New York who says, you just don't understand. I can almost hear him scream from across the channel, and maybe I do not, but I will maintain that I think that this is a completely decent movie with fantastic performances, with a great atmosphere, a hypnotic tone to it that I liked, but it is also a movie that where nothing happens and the thing moves slower than fucking erosion. So, do I think that this is an unworthy winner? Yes. Do I think that this is a bad movie? No. Is this a movie that I'm ever going to see again? Also no. Because if you're going to tell me that this movie is better than the absolute gut punch that was Hell or High Water, the fantastic experience that was Arrival, or the emotional spectacular bloodbath that was Hacksaw Ridge, I cannot agree with you. I just think that this movie is quite okay. There has been, you know, a little bit of a trend with the Academy to pick these kitchen sink realism dramas that, you know, tackles different kinds of, you know, sensitive subjects of various forms, including Coda, Nomadland, and this movie. I think that this movie is by far the best of the three, but it still doesn't make this movie, you know, a movie I think deserves such a high praising. I don't know, it's probably just me. As I said, fantastic performances, but I could never get into it, and I don't know what its purpose was. But if you've never seen this movie, I do recommend this movie, because I think that most people that will see this movie will see a different movie and a better movie, and will see other things than I didn't see, and understand things that I didn't see, and realize details that I didn't see. But for some reason I could never get into this thing. I've already almost forgotten about the whole movie again, and I just saw it last week. And I'm sure that this movie has a very important message about race and sexual orientation and poverty and other stuff as well, but for some reason it was too vague and I could never get into it. I don't know. I'm sorry, but I cannot give this movie a better rating than I'm going to. I tried. I really tried when I rewatched this movie to see what did I miss the last time I saw it. And the answer was very little, apparently. This is a very tricky movie to rate. I've now seen it twice and I am now absolutely convinced that my old opinion about it was correct. I give this movie 51 points. Sure as hell wish I could give it more because of what it wants to be, but I just couldn't do it. This movie is kind of forgettable, but the characters are so three-dimensional and the dialogue is so natural that I can understand why people really like this movie. This was not for me, just. I'm very sorry. I can't give it anymore. So I'll see you next time from Little So-and-so reviewing, well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.